in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What a pity. Tomorrow never certain. What dwells behind the curtain? The face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, could either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannons could breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again here on the Kingana YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you guys have come on and to check us out today. And today we have a really powerful interview with a brother who's currently in Accra, Ghana. I'll let him explain because he got that nice suit on, so you know he must be somebody. So I'm gonna let him explain who he is, what he does, and I'll kind of talk about that later. Go ahead, brother.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ike Ogiamian. I'm a YouTuber, okay? Since we're on YouTube, that is worth mentioning. However, I'm also an engineer based in the state of California, but my company is international. And also, I'm in real estate development, I'm in the taxi business, and many other aspects of business world and, shall we say, marketing that we'll get into in this conversation, I'm sure. But again, my name is Ike Ogiamian, and you can check out my channel. It's called Ike Ogiamian. Just type in Ike and then OG. The rest should pop up. And I'm glad to be here today, Kingana. Let's chop it up.
All right, and give him a round of applause for coming over. And Ike, you are very talented. We would adopt you over in the African American community, which you're very familiar with. But you're very successful Nigerian American, and but you're doing some interesting things in Ghana, and you've been there for some time in this last stint. And many people I've noticed from the Black diaspora, especially those people from the African American community. I know there's some Nigerians also in Ghana, have been there for some time. Mm-hmm. And then also you have Caribbeans that are looking to go back, and Ghana's doing a really great job, but they don't know what they're going to do when they get there. And so it seems like you kind of have figured out what is needed for those from the diaspora to do well in Ghana and to be successful, because you've been doing some things there. Can we kind of talk about that a little bit, kind of in a broad sense?
Good. In kind of like a broad sense, I would say that, first of all, there's some foundational things which bear mentioning, right? In the sense that you, first of all, need to have already skilled up in your home front, wherever you are, where, by the way, getting skills is cheap. So whether it be a blue collar skill, right, or a white collar skill, you got that. And then you have certifications, which means you're able to start your own business, right? So you're a certified HVAC technician, or you're a journeyman, carpenter, or you're a licensed professional engineer, licensed in 5 states, like myself, right? It used to be 3 states. I just added 2, and there's going to be more. I'm going to have 50 licenses by the time this is over. But anyway, so you have skilled up and you have your license so that you're able to practice. Now, what the frontier world need, what the third world, to use that kind of term, needs is people that can come and build things. Not necessarily people that are going to come to look for a job, right? So if you might be a nurse even, and you could think, well, nursing is applicable all over the world. It's like, look, Ghana is not sitting around looking for nurses, okay? There's many nurses here, along with any other kind of skill that you may imagine. The problem is not really a problem of education, okay? The problem is a problem of opportunity and access to capital. and access to the know-how and the confidence to be entrepreneurial. So again, the foundational thing is obviously you already got your skills, white collar, blue collar, wherever it may be. You've elevated your skills up to a level where you're able to start your own thing. In other words, you have that soft skill to be able to go out there into the marketplace, touch somebody and get money out of them. And you build your competence that way. And then you're going to take advantage of the competitive edge that you can get by going out into the third world, for example, and taking advantage of the employees. Take me for example, right? So I said, okay, I got my engineering licenses in several states. I started an engineering company in 2014. What's one of my competitive advantages that I can take advantage of is African employees. So look, in Ethiopia, for example, a high-level engineer in Ethiopia getting paid, you might not believe this, but like $250 a month, okay? Structural engineer, $250 a month. I can come in there and I can pay them 3 times that. At that point, I got their attention, right? So if you compare to how much I'll have to pay somebody in the Bay Area, for example, that's a great advantage that I have. So I built up my level of skill, built up certifications, built up a business, and then now I can come over here and build something, give this guy 3 times the money that he would otherwise be getting, and that's how things work, generally speaking.
Now, I've also always said that, what you're saying now, because many people come to the continent with their cell phone or whatever they may have, and they think that it's easy, but then you make the point that you need to be skilled up in your home front. Okay, and then you understand the business, and you have the competitive advantage of the labor force. But I want to add some things in here because obviously one of the things that I found out just in what I'm trying to do, even here on this channel, is hiring talent, right, and then being able to train to the international standard that you want the people to be. It's almost like you're doing human resources because you have the vision. And maybe the standard that they were working with at that time might not be the standard that you're used to. So let's talk about that. Trying to achieve the international standard, and how do you find talent for, what you're trying to do? How do you access their abilities or their skill sets before you bring them into your organization?
Very, very, very good question, because the whole problem of hiring and firing is something that when it comes to scaling, that's like about 80% of the deal, right? Hiring the right people. So let me explain organically how I was able to solve the problem, and then I'll kind of maybe give a nice little structure as to what can be done going forward. So I tried many things, let's say in the United States and also in England. I tried the freelance thing also by England, all over Europe. I tried the freelance thing with Upwork and things like that, just to try to get some work. Let me try a drafter here or this person there, so on and so forth. And then one of the problems you find with regards to standards is not everybody, or shall we say very few people, especially compared to you, the founder of a company, are going to have the same kind of work ethic that you have. So that's the first standard to find out. Work ethic, which is very close to personality. How did I solve that eventually? So I teamed up with a company called Kaisari. I'm kind of part owner of the company, if you will, okay? And I'll explain more about what we're doing here, but it's a human resources company. There's another company called Turing, I believe. Turing is a bigger company, and they do it for the tech industry in terms of like human resources for the tech industry. You can find people for you, vet them for you, do your HR for you, and all that kind of stuff. What we're doing here at Kaisari is for the entirety of engineering. So not just quote unquote tech, meaning IT, meaning information technology, computers, ones and zeros, but whether it be structural engineering, mechanical engineering, whatever it may be, finding these people. So the first thing is the personality tests that we do is an important thing.
Okay.
You have to understand how different people operate and the different places that they're going to be able to, shall we say, feel. The person who's going to be the operator, a high-level operator, like high-level engineer that will just get things done, right, is different from the guy that you're going to expect to rise to the level of, let's say, engineering management, project management. He's a little bit more diversified, but not particularly, shall we say, hyper focused and skilled in one thing. I'm that kind of example, for example, where it's like I'm more of the guy who's gonna have his hands in many different things, more entrepreneurial, more building, more intuitive, to speak of
Right.
the particular personality aspects we're talking about. You're looking for someone who's more intuitive, right?
Right.
That's the person that you're going to try to hire for that position. And then there's another person who is not so intuitive, but they're going to be better than the intuitive at just knocking out those spreadsheets and things. So that's the first thing that we did, okay? And then with regards to training, I'm going to say a word on that. Now, we built a rather systematic way whereby because you want to automate the training as much as possible. Okay. You don't want to, as the point as the founder or the CEO or something like that, you're starting something. You don't want to every time have to go through and sit through the seminar teaching somebody something over and over again. So the degree to which you can record, document, and then standardize as you go through, right? These training sessions. So let's say you have a training session, record it, put it on StreamYard, create a YouTube channel, right? And private, right? You know what I'm saying? Private videos, just stack them all up in there. Later on, you can come back and put documents that, shall we say, summarize these videos, right? So that the new person that comes in, you're saying, okay, cool. Here's what you need. You for the first 3 weeks, you're gonna need to watch these videos. Here are the documents that go with these videos. They have examples in them and so on and so forth. And then I'm gonna start feeding you work in accordance with the level that you're in with these videos. So that's one way of standardizing the, shall we say, training aspect. And then also you need to understand the differences in personalities. These things need to be systematized. And not only can you do this within your company, you can create a whole new company around it, such as Touring, that goes and does this for other people, which is what we're doing at Kaisari.
Right. And I do have an interview here with a lady in Uganda that does just that, a human resources companies, which is it's a great thing. So it's a great plus. Let me just talk about we kind of scale it down a little bit, because I know that you talked about the taxi business as one of the options. If a person just wants to get into something that might be already going, maybe not bringing a whole new business to, to Ghana, a whole new industry, maybe, or something a little bit more specialized. You also are dealing in this taxi car industry in Ghana. How does it work, and what are you seeing that the opportunities are there for somebody from the diaspora that might want to come and get started in that, and things like that?
100%. So if we go back to the initial question about, well, you gotta skill up, get the ability to bring money in, which was the whole certification, and be able to reach out into the marketplace and get money, right? All that foundational part is about your ability to get money. And then also in the West, another thing that you have is credit, okay? Which perhaps you shouldn't use waywardly, right? But you're going to start a business, then business credit is definitely way more, shall we say, advisable than personal credit. So low level, we're not talking about real estate, which is something I'm also getting involved in here. We're not talking about big real estate money, okay? We're talking about being able to have maybe $6,000. If you can have $6,000, you can buy the entry-level taxi cab, which is the Hyundai, I think it's called like a Yantu or a Vantu or whatever it is. You can look it up. They're all over Accra, right? And the problem is this, because you're trying to solve a problem, right? You're trying to solve a problem which exists on the ground, okay? There's transportation needs, so there's a need there. What's the problem? There's no credit. There are lots of people, they want to work. They have the ability, they have the skill to drive. They know the roads, they know what's needed, right? But they don't have access to $6,000. They can't just walk into a bank and there's no credit cards, there's no car loans, right? That's for the big men, that kind of thing, right? But you come in, you buy one of these Hyundais for $6,000, okay? And within a year and a half, you have an arrangement with this person that they pay you back, let's say on a weekly basis, and you're going to make at the end of this transaction $10,000 in a year and a half. This is about 66%, okay? 66% interest overall on your money, from 6,000 to 10,000, right? Now, you may be like, wow, that's a a high percentage. But the people who are doing it here, they charge 100%, right? So you're coming in, this is your advantage. You're coming from a place where interests are not that high. Things are not that crazy. Access to credit is not so crazy. So for you, 66% on your money, look, where else can you get 66%? Let's take out crypto, right? We know crypto is crazy. You can do crazy
Right.
things with crypto. But in terms of a sustainable business, where else can you get 66% on your money? It
You
is
can't.
hard to do that.
Yeah.
The thing goes back to the people now. Whom are you going to trust
Right.
with your car that you're going to give to them? Now, chances are they're not going to like just run away with your car or damage your car because it's their car. You're like the bank in this case. You hold the papers, okay? You hold the papers to the car. It's going to be handed over to them after they finish paying, right? So the whole trust thing then becomes that whole network thing, which is one of my businesses is called MISC, which I'm starting. That's where you then, maybe it's O'Shea that you know in Uganda. Maybe it's Wodemaya, whom O'Shea kind of connected with in order to kind of understand certain things about how to do things in Africa. But basically what I'm telling you is you need to connect with somebody that knows somebody on the ground, okay? And then you need to show up 2 feet, 10 toes down, as they say, on the ground here, see the car yourself, see the person yourself, see the taxi business yourself, right? And then buy that car, give it to that person, they pay you, that gives you cash flow, right? And you can take that cash flow and then you can maybe when you get that $10,000 in a year and a half, you can buy a bigger level car, right? All the while, okay, you're still doing your regular business, right? You got skills and you got certification so you can get money. So all the while, you're still having a way of getting another $6,000, right? To buy another car, maybe, right? And the cash flow can perhaps, even if let's say you use debt, the cash flow might be able to handle the debt service, which is something that you can easily calculate and check out. If they're giving you money, which amounts to 66%, I'm sure that whatever loan that you may take out to buy this car is going to be, less than it's going to handle that aspect. So there's cash flow. You can pay off the loan if you indeed took a loan, which I would not advise you to, and then you can flip that money over and over again. In about 5 years, you could have already 4 cars out there doing that business. So this is one of those set it and forget it type things. In other words, this is not, okay, I'm looking for something to be able to feed myself today. It's something whereby if I set it today, in 6 years, boom, I got mad cash flow coming in. I got a whole fleet of cars out there, and I can kind of do what I need to do. So that's a simple example about the taxi business.
Okay. What other simple businesses do you kind of know that you think it's kind of easier, not easier, but for people that are coming from the diaspora, what do you think about as far as what opportunities they have for and some of the other industries or very similar industries?
So, just like I said, one needs to look at problems, right? In order to start a business, you need to solve a problem. In order to sell something, people buy things to solve a problem. So there is a big opportunity with, shall we say, infrastructure, because it's a problem, right? I'm sure in Uganda, same as in West Africa, there, roads get flooded. There are issues with, let's say, addresses, people not being able to know whom owns a particular plot of land. These are all infrastructural problems. There's the flow of goods and people, which is transportation. There's the flow of water, which is very important because precipitation is going to happen. Rain is going to fall, right? So that's another thing about urban planning and so on and so forth. And then there's the utilities, the flow of electricity, water, and shall we say other kinds of utilities. Okay. Therein lies a huge range of problems to be solved. But here's the trick. You don't have to come in and be Pacific Bell or some big company to solve it. Let me give an example how or why this is the case. The way the communication problem was solved in Africa, okay, was not the way we solved it in the West. In other words, you didn't need these big companies to come in and put in these cables. No, we went straight to digital, straight to wireless, right? That's why in Accra today, it is cheaper. Internet is cheaper than it is in California. Well, why? How is that possible? Well, because in California, they had to, again, there's a whole telephone thing, communication thing, right? AT&T had to build all this crap. It became a monopoly because it's very capital intensive. And now they have to reap back all that money. But over here, people can come in because technology has advanced so much. You're going to be able to solve the problems with a technological solution that is cheaper and more advanced. So that's what I've said all that to say this, which is You can come in with your know-how, your skills, and your ability to build something in the technology world, maybe an app, okay, to solve the land, shall we say, who owns the land problem. Maybe that's going to be in the NFT space of the blockchain, which, by the way, is something that I'm doing, because I believe your question is about low barrier to entry, not very capital intensive type of businesses that you can start, right? So, but the idea is they have these big problems over here in Africa that, in order to solve, because of the advancements in technology now, you're not going to do it in the way it was done in the industrial age. It's going to be done with today's technology, which is cheaper to do. So basically, to create a database of whom owns land and something that's infallible and that everybody can trust, a trustless system, if you will, the whole blockchain, let's say, is something that there are many, shall we say, coins that are out there solving many problems. But in the whole space of IT, the blockchain, the NFTs, this is another space where, with a little bit of, elbow grease and a little bit of thinking, a little bit of skills, right, and that willingness to start something, you can solve a lot of these problems that I mentioned.
Wow. Okay. So you guys, take notes of that. Let me just ask you. I know you've been to Ghana a few times. And recently, you had a wedding there, so congratulations to that. I posted it on my community tab on my main page. But you've been living in the West Coast just like me for a long time, and for the person that is not from Africa, and it's just trying to get used to living into Ghana or in any country in Africa. Let's look at Ghana in particular. What are some of the challenges that they may face, or that you may face on the day-to-day basis, that you have to get your mind ready, mentally ready to be able to handle on a day-to-day basis?
So people in general they have a narrative in their head which is based on the environment that they came up from, right? And this narrative in their head is going to have certain stories about what's possible to them, what's not possible to them, and so on and so forth. These things are going to stop you. And this is it's not like a outside block. This is not the white man holding your internet back, or the white man threw your cell phone in the pool or something like that. This is an internal block, okay? So now we're going internal, okay? That's the first thing I would say, is that these challenges that you're talking about, O'Shea, these are not external challenges. You can get a ticket and come over here, okay? You can find a way to, set up yourself here. Like, you can be in Nairobi and live like $1,000 a month fairly comfortably. So it's not these kinds of external challenges. It's going to be the internal challenges of the discomfort that you have. Maybe there's going to be a language barrier, okay? If you're able to, maybe you want to start learning a little bit of Swahili. Maybe if it's Kenya that you're going to, right? In Nairobi or something like that. So to overcome that challenge, learn the language. Number two, in order to overcome this same internal challenge, is find the right networks, okay? I mentioned Wodemeyer in terms of O'Shea. You watching this channel, you kind of know O'Shea, right? Or you can reach out to me. As I said, I have a company, MISC, which is kind of about creating these networks and pointing people in the right directions. Maybe you want to start a company and you're trying to take advantage of that competitive advantage when it comes to hiring people, okay? You can reach out to me and I'll direct you to the Kaisari people. What do you need? Let's do some personality tests, find the right person, institute a training program, and then scale you up. So number one is to realize that the problem is internal, right? Which is, it's not something that is out there that's blocking you. It's due to the fact that you were born somewhere and it's filled your head with stories. And human beings in general, we're kind of attached to the stories. We're attached to that identity, okay? Some of us, not so much, okay? I have an advantage in the sense that I'm one of those people that's not very attached to, I can just go anywhere and I can see the real problems in front of me, as opposed to having to deal so much with the internal problems. But the problem that we're talking about right now is internal. So first of all, recognize that it is not something out there. It is in you. So you look inward and you face it, which, by the way, is something that I have a lot of videos out there teaching you how to do that. And then number two is you find the right networks in order to do that. And then there's going to be some intermediate, shall we say, things that exist out there, such as a language barrier. Go ahead and learn it. That's why I say put 2 feet on the ground. When I was talking about the taxi business, you're gonna need to come over here a few times.
Okay,
right?
say it again.
They
don't understand that. Say it again.
You got to come over here a few times. O'Shea has done that many times in East Africa. He mentioned that I've come over here a few times to West Africa. Now, granted, I have a little bit of advantage in terms of being born here and so on and so forth. Born in Nigeria, a couple doors down, if you will. But you got to come over here a few times to deal with that kind of get your sea legs or your land legs under you type situation. Find the right network so that you can kind of create a little bit of that bubble and cocoon, so that you feel a little bit more settled, and then realize that it's an internal problem. It's not an external issue. And then I think you're well on your way if you're able to address these things in this way.
All right. Well, Brother Ike, I definitely, unless you have any other things that we need to be talking about today, in your opinion, or anything else you wanted to say or add to the discussion?
Oh, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and say something more about that internal thing, okay? And by the way, my company, MYSC, MYSC, is called Mastering Your Subjective Consciousness, because I truly believe that about 90% of the problems that stop people, let's just say men, okay, from doing the things that they need to do in the world are a question of a lack of stoicism, a lack of being able to master themselves. Okay. And this is something that I preach all the time. And since you gave me an opportunity to say something here towards the end, I think that it's important for us to say that, because so far we've talked about, okay, how do you find a competitive advantage? What are the things that you need to do externally? What are the opportunities here in Africa? How do you solve these problems? Okay. I say, hey, cool. You can solve problems using technology, which is now easier and cheaper to build, blah, 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 blah. Here's a taxi business. Here's this, here's that. Okay. But here is the real question. The question is, why aren't you doing it? Okay. And the answer to that question is because they're internal blocks. Okay. The internal blocks come in the form of 3 things. Okay. Your subjective consciousness is made up of 3 things, which is feelings in your body. Okay. Images in your head and talk in your head. That story that I told you about, the fact that you're born in the Bay and then now you're out here in Africa. How's that going to stop you from doing things in Africa? Well, there's going to be a sensation in your stomach, right? There's going to be butterflies in your chest or something. It's going to be a feeling in your body, okay? It is not in outer space. It is not in underground. It's not with the devil. It's not with God. It's not with the white man, whatever it may be. It's something in you that you can feel, and there's something that you can do about that feeling. There's something that you can do and you must do in order to overcome that. And then there'll be images in your head and talk in your head. Again, feeling, image, talk. I call it fit. That's the extent of your subjective consciousness. And everything that's going to block you from within is going to manifest yourself as some combination of feeling in your body, some combination of talk in your head, and images in your head. If you're able to focus on these, master these, and have that stoic attitude, then there is nothing that is going to be out there in the external world that you can conquer in the 21st century born in the West, for example, with all the advantages that you have. If you can deal with the internal, there's nothing that you can do externally.
All right. And that was an excellent interview. I hope people have been, really, really helped, especially for those of you who want to come to Ghana, you want to deal in West Africa. These are some great tips, but many of them are more detailed than what I have talked about in the past. As far as what he's talking about today, I've talked about them, but he's done a really excellent job in breaking them down. And subscribe to Brother Ike, the first comment pinned to the top. And again, he has a lot of good resources and information available for you. You can check him out there. I'll put his email. Also, his email will probably be on the channel, so go check it out. And as you guys know, keep it real. King Ghana forever. We out.
Young man, do you want to succeed, to expand beyond your horizons? If you want to be free, then you must learn to master yourself, your thoughts, feelings, your body and spirit. Master your subjective consciousness. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. The world world outside of yourself is ruled by those who are not ruled by their base instincts. Young man, go forth into the world after this. Meditate, contemplate, then plan and execute an action towards success. Take a risk, break the rules, and be disciplined within self.